Which motocross video game got the 2024 San Francisco Supercross the most correct between MXRS ATV Legends, MX Simulator, and MX Bikes? We are back again this week with this series. Going to check out 3 different tracks, see how they played because they all came out at different times. And of course, the real-life San Francisco Supercross was a mud race, so we never really got to see these tracks in action. So let's jump in and see which of these tracks worked out the best in-game. Before we do, I want to remind you guys that Race Tech seminars are coming up this November. Don't miss your chance to learn from renowned suspension specialist Paul Thied. Many industry technicians got their start at these seminars, and you can too. Visit the link in our description to sign up for suspension and engine seminars from Race Tech, November 2nd to the 10th. So we are going to once again go in chronological order of when the tracks were released. We're going to start off with MX Simulator, which was released on Wednesday, January 10th. The real race, of course, happened on Saturday, January 13th, won by Jordan Smith and Chase Sexton. It was a mud race, like I said, IRL, so pretty much all the rhythm lines that we're going to show off in this video were not possible in real life. They actually cut down quite a few of these jumps on the IRL track, so accuracy isn't really going to matter for this. It's more just showing the differences of how each of the games were built in each of the game, I should say, and what is possible in these rhythm sections, because we kind of missed out on what would have been really cool racetracks, I feel like, at San Francisco with the way that these rhythm sections would have formed. I feel like we got some good rhythm sections in MX Sim and MX Bikes. The Legends rhythm sections are a little bit weird, but we'll get to that in the first place. Over the finish line jump, though, you come through this bowl corner, out of it a little double into a Supercross triple, then go flying across the start straight. Really interesting start straight that kind of swooped well through the first corner. This one, you could either jump all the way across or check up and then go big table over single, triple, quad. Very similar line potential in MX Bikes as well, but we'll get there when we get there. Out of this corner, you would triple in, then you would quad, and then you would triple single. Some guys did have enough to be able to quad into that corner in MX Sim, but for the most part, everyone was just doing triple single. Out of this one, you go double into another Supercross triple U-turn, and then a whoop section that in real life, again, they cut down completely. It was basically just rollers. They let them start the night, I think, with the whoops, and then they cut them down completely to straightaway or some rollers. The sand section was there, though. Then they swooped out of this corner, back across the start straight, and then a couple doubles headed you into the finish line jump. Again, felt like it was pretty well built in MX Simulator, but let's go ahead and take a look at the onboard lap and see just what it looked like in MX Sim for some of the top guys in the game. Next up, we got the MX Bikes track released on Friday, January 12th, the day before the actual race. This was created by Stone Rider, as were most of the rounds. I think all the rounds actually in ARO was made by Stone Rider. Again, another very similar dynamic to what we saw at the opening round with there's a little bit more opening in the corners and stuff like that with the ruts. As they developed throughout the season, they made the corners a lot ruttier. And you'll see when we get to some of those tracks that I struggled with it. It was still okay by this point, doing some of these tracks, doing some of the big lines. I wasn't able to get the biggest line through one of the rhythm sections on this track, but very similar dynamics in what was possible between MX Sim to MX Bikes. A lot of triple ins, a lot of interesting lines that you can take through kind of the first and second rhythm sections, but the rest of the track flowed together pretty well. It's all about just kind of hitting your marks with connecting the ruts together well. Aesthetically, they knocked it out of the park, as they always do in MX Bike. So let's take a look at a lap here from third person. Again, just same thing. Over the finish line jump, you go through this corner, a lot of ruts on corner exit here, double into a Supercross triple, and then in this game, they actually made a really nice inside rut right here. So we dive into it. I kind of bounce out of it a little bit, but then over this single, and you go step on, step off, triple, and then quad into the corners. So slightly different than what we were able to do in Sim. Out of this corner, you get that rut clean and you're able to triple in and then land on the rear fender, get down and quad this, and then triple through here. So basically the exact same line that we did in Sim. Through this corner, tuck to the inside, double out right here, and then get the Supercross triple. I think what's more fun about bikes than Sim is that you can kind of really work together to make these different lines that they have built into the game kind of work in your favor. You can go inside, you can kind of Supercross, use, you know, inside outside options to go from corner to corner. So like you could start outside here, go to the inside in the corner before these doubles. I like to go outside so we could get a run into it and pretty cleanly double, but I also suck at ruts in this game, especially in third person. Either way, very fun and well built track and MX bikes. Let's take a look from the onboard camera what it looked like. And lastly, of course, we have MX vs. ATV Legends, which was released on February 20th, built by the Rainbow Studios crew. And the first 6 tracks of the Monster Energy Supercross DLC wasn't released until February 20th. So it's going to be a little while of these first few rounds where they're all released basically at the same time. They had time to fix the tracks and make them a little bit more realistic. I was surprised that they did this, which was not include any sand in this little back straightaway, because even the IRL track had a little bit of sand in it. They flattened it out quite a bit so that the mud would kind of mix with it a little bit better. But the rest of the track, I think, is pretty much status quo to basically what we saw in Bikes and Sim, which is kind of cool that really the Bikes and Sim tracks both got it so correct that even when MX vs. ATV Legends had a month to build this track, they went back in and kind of built it more or less how it was built in Bikes and Sim. So very nice that, you know, even though San Francisco changed a ton IRL because of the mud, Legends still was like, you know what, let's run with the default track map that was supposed to come out, and this is what we ended up having. So again, very similar dynamics about what rhythms you can and can't take. The only difference I really felt like was it was painfully obvious to go outside and double across here because the berm was so big. The other games didn't really have that, so you double across, then downside this big single right here, then you go over table 2 out, which is obviously different than what we did in Bikes and Sim. This one seems like it's pretty simple to just go like step on or like tap quad and then double. Really kind of hard to downside everything and really maintain that momentum through the rhythm sections, but you can quad out if you got it really cleanly through here and then into the whoops. The whoops are tricky in this game, kind of hard to stay on top of them, but did an all right job there. And then, yeah, really weird that there's no sand here, just wide open flying through here. And then same couple sections to finish it off. So go ahead and take a look at the onboard lap to wrap this thing up. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Appreciate you stopping by and watching another video, and like it if you guys want. And we'll see you guys in the next one.